This episode of Obscure Chatter is brought to you by Things That Bring You Joy. It's a shitstorm out there. Interact with things that bring you joy whenever and however you can. You know, unless you're a piece of shit. And now, on to the episode. Welcome to another episode of Obscure Chatter. I am your host, Terri Doty. If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if it isn't, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I highly doubt y'all are at a loss as to why the sponsor is what it is. I do very much hope that you're getting some joy out there whenever you can. Hell, maybe this show is part of your joy, and if that is the case, I am so sorry. What brings me joy lately? The weather hasn't been what it needs to be, but it also means it hasn't been too cold to walk. So I get a lot of joy out of walking around the neighborhood with my favorite person in the entire universe, which is my partner, Steven, just in case that wasn't clear. I don't know who that wouldn't be clear to. I guess someone new here. Maybe this is your first little taste of me. And again, if it is, I'm really sorry. My dog Willow is another source of joy. More or less. She's been very snuggly lately, and that's not a horrible way to wind down at the end of the day or at the start of the day. Pretty much, I'm a bit of a snuggle fan with my dog. So hot takes happening. Another joy. The bag boy at the grocery store, he and I high five every time we see each other. I don't know how that started. But he's really good at high fiving. So that's a joyful high five right there. And, sometimes they really make my weekly little run to the store. Other joys. My hairstylist, Andrea, she and I have known each other, I realized, for over a decade now. And, or about a decade at least. And I got her randomly. But anyways, we talk about the deepest shit, but also the dumbest shit. And that's better than therapy. So there's that. Sitting up against a wall is joy. Is that weird? You ever done that? I started doing it after a flight or a long car ride a few years ago. It was after a convention. I sit up against a wall once a day for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes if I'm feeling saucy. And also, a good way to battle sciatica. You're welcome. So let me try to think of one more joyful thing. I really love police body cam footage of entitled white ladies getting arrested because they're always surprised. They're always surprised. I swear to God. It's better than heroin, I imagine. Having never tried heroin, I can only guess that is exactly what it feels like. Random enough for you at the start of the episode, anyways, yes, greetings from 2026. 2026. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the kind of future sounding year that should be associated with hoverboards, flying cars that run on garbage, doors that are opened by fingerprints, and whatever else I can think of from Back to the Future 2. Which I believe is actually supposed to be Marty and Doc going from 85 to 2015. Man, I watched that. Total random tangent. I watched that in theaters on the actual date Marty traveled back, so you'd think I would remember that. But here we are. 2015 was 2015 a cool year? I don't remember. Jesus, I don't think we even had a cool 2015. Did we? Did we? No. And now, 10, 11 years later, instead of what we need, which is cool shit and shit moving forward, let's say things are fuckier than those of us with souls would like. Forward is the way. Always forward. Always, always, always. We should only ever look back to see how far we've come, how much we've grown, how cringe we used to be as people. If you're not cringing at your past self, you're not doing growing right. As a society, as a country, as a planet. But yes, we should always be striving for onward and upward. Now, I am going to do everything I can in the time we have together this episode to keep everyone entertained, including myself. I've got some random shit to tell you guys that you might enjoy or you might not. You can laugh at me rather than with me. That's fine. I'll be your clown if you need me to. Clowns are awesome. I'm not someone that's scared of clowns. I actually get a lot of joy out of clowns. So there's another joy right there. Boom. Done. So, yeah. That being said, let's catch up on the media that's been consumed since the last time we chat. Be sure to let me know if you've read, watched, or listened to anything I've mentioned in the past or in this episode, which is happening right now as we talk. I love hearing your thoughts. So, starting with what I've been reading, there's been a lot, but not all of it is noteworthy. And if I'm 100% honest, it's not always the best writing. Sometimes it's just not so great or flat out bad writing that I enjoy. There's a lot out there. Some good, some not so good. But if it finds me and I enjoy it, here we are. I try not to have it be problematic. I really do. Why is that getting so hard to do now, though? But anyways, yeah. So take from that what you will, and don't blame me if you hate whatever you're reading that I might have mentioned. But if you love it, I want full credit. So, yeah, I'm messy that way. But randomly, I'm going to start with something that might shock those of you that remember my old podcast, That Anime Show, which is TAS Rewind on this RSS feed. I talked a lot of shit about this franchise. So much, and really, looking back, most of it was just for the sake of being recreationally outraged, which, again, it's a nice little cringe moment of the past. While I was reviewing old TAS, I cringed pretty hard at a lot of stuff, but I went hard on the Twilight franchise. I think I even shit-talked on a commentary with Lucy Christian and Aaron Dismuke for Corpse Princess. Yeah, Lucy said Team Jacob or something, and I'm like, no, we're not doing this. And if you liked it, if you liked the Twilight franchise, who am I to talk shit about it? And I was a total hypocrite even then because I watched the movies. And I just finished a rewatch not too long ago. And I'll probably do another rewatch because my ass is reading the books. My eyes, my brain is ingesting it. No, my ass has very little involvement, actually. But I can't really get into why I decided to finally start the Stephenie Meyer's books, or Stephenie Meyer books. Other than I wanted to give them a fair chance. I've done it so much in the past with other properties, and I don't know. I just figured, hey, give it another shot. And here we are, I was surprised I finished Twilight, the book one. And I'd started and stopped it a few times over the years. I liked it. It was interesting to get the real backstory on stuff that was confusing in the movies. Sometimes in movies that are from books, whether or not you know it, sometimes you are referencing something that's so from the book that it's to the, it just comes off confusing to people who aren't familiar with the property. So doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of adapting it? I should not have to read the book to understand some stuff, but I digress. Yeah, I might have already finished New Moon and Eclipse last night. Who am I? The woman before you, before this microphone. I have a runny nose, excuse me. Before this microphone that cost her a pretty penny. Who is this woman before you? I can't say I'm obsessed with the books, but I'm going from one book right into the next. I'm a little stalled on Breaking Dawn because that Libby wait list is real. The Libby wait time is real. And if you're a fan of the franchise, feel free to give me a ton of shit for the smack I talked. I talked Stephen's ear off about like Carlisle's backstory, the mystery of Alice, and how much less annoying Jacob is in the book, but also at the same time more annoying. You either get it or you don't. How odd it is that Jasper's abilities aren't featured in the books, and it's like so many different little things, but I will stop, I promise. So seriously, no one is more shocked than me. No one. But pivoting to something completely different, I read Kate C. Wells' latest book, Silent Flames, and I've read more than a couple of her books. I think the first was either the start of her 5-pack series or the first book in the Stonecut County series. But Silent Flame felt different for Kate. I say that like we're friends, but I enjoyed it, but it isn't something that is an easy sell for a lot of people. Books with cheating, especially cheating on the page, is a big no for many people, but it's a wild ride. So check out the synopsis and maybe a sample. It might be worth a shot to you. Another author that I've read before is Jay Nathan. It's just J, period, not J. J-A-Y. You're smart. I know you understand. But Something About You is my 7th book by her. I really like her For You series, For Finley being a personal fave. I reread it now and again. Because Something About You wasn't my first book by the author. I bought a copy without knowing anything about the story. And that takes a lot these days, a lot of trust, at least for me. I know you can't guarantee that you'll like a book, but it really sucks when the book is expensive and you didn't like it. By the way, don't try to return a book just because you hate it. Just take the hit. Just take the hit. I've done it. You got to do it too. It's easier that way, trust me. But this was a cute story about a snowboarder and a nerdy girl falling in love. Nerd and jock stories, they don't always work for me, but when they do, they do. Funny how that happens. So I'm slowly realizing how much, as I'm thinking about other books, I'm slowly realizing just how much I've relied on authors I already know I enjoy. I honestly can't tell you how many books I've read by... It's either V or Vi. I'm going to say V. V. Keeland. It's more than 2, not including this one. So I guess this is at least my 3rd book by V, called Beautiful Mistake. It's a book I've had in the library for a while. I got it for free forever ago, and a friend recommended I finally give it a go. It's one of my online romance groups that I'm a part of. It's I was going to say it's my secret shame, but it's not. I think I've been pretty vocal about my books on here. But the basic plot is there's this bartender / grad student that sees her coworker / friend's sleazy ex just chilling at their bar. And this ex turned out to be married and screwed her friend over. So what does any good friend do? She tells the guy off, only she didn't have the right guy. And the wrong guy is her new advisor in school. I guess they have to fall in love or something. So, yeah, like nerd and jock books, teacher-student stories are very hit or miss for me. But I like this, and you might too. As you have definitely picked up from previous discussions, I'm a sucker for a good Omegaverse book. Side note, the way some of you silly billies message me for Omegaverse recommendations was pretty great, though I don't think some of you really know what you were unleashing into your libraries. Sorry, not sorry. So, in addition to Omegaverse books, I also love a lot of groveling, like the guys, or in this case, guys, messed up majorly with the female main character and have to crawl on their hands and knees to get her back. I really hate when they're forgiven too quickly. No, I want them to suffer for a long time and be grateful forever that she gives them the time of day again. So that's Pack Darling parts 1 and 2. I'm currently finishing up 2. But 1, yeah, has all of that and more. 2's pretty much fit in the bill as well. I typically wait to hype a book until I've fully finished, but I'm keeping positive and hoping this won't let me down by the end. I rarely talk about books that I'm still actively reading, so we'll see. We'll see. If it's bad, then we just won't talk about it. But I'll probably say something. Who knows? I ordered a signed copy of the duet because Libby was taking a little bit long, and the day it became available was the day my book came into the mail. I'm like, motherfucker. So, but I'm still grateful to have access to so much like this because of Libby. It saves me a lot of money. And also sometimes some major searching. Stuff's getting a little hard to find if it's like a little risque in Texas here and there, which I might have mentioned before. But yeah, and there's more that I read, but those are more or less the highlights. Again, I'm as shocked as you are about the Twilight thing. I'm still piecing myself back together, being like, wow. And it'll probably be just enough time to be like, all right, well, let's get to Breaking Dawn. Who knows if you're curious how that goes. I'm sure I'll give you guys an update as far as that. And, music wise, I've really gone all in on revisiting Deftones. I've been listening to them on pretty much a daily basis, thanks to Hoopla. Bless Hoopla, because I have had zero luck tracking down any of the Deftones CDs in the wild, and I'm currently not using any music streaming services. And Deftones albums were hard to find in stock when people were actively buying CDs, and there were stores dedicated to CDs, if you can believe it, or the majority of it was CDs. And yeah, again, reminder, I'm old, so suck it. Suck it because I'm old. Terri, how very dare. Anyway, but yeah, I've been interchanging between Around the Fur, White Pony, and Deftones self-title. The biggest song on repeat has got to be Minerva. In the car, the main CD has been Silver Sun Pickups, Carnivas, which I believe I've mentioned before. Dream at Tempo 119 is the biggest repeat. It's actually a song that's on my, hey, if you need to know what to play at my funeral, here are some ideas. It's there's that on there. Girl by Davy Jones, which has nothing to do with, my monthly listens. What else is on there? One other song. And you're like, well, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, which, if you're an old fan of that anime show, you know that's a big song for me. But yeah, I need the real Carnivas album. All I have is a burned copy my friend Gregor's made me when we were working together at Guitar Center. So I also haven't checked out any of their new albums. I'm weird about new stuff sometimes. If I already know I like one thing by a person, I don't know, there's an anxiety to checking out their other stuff. I get worried that I won't like it and it'll somehow spoil the stuff I do like, which is silly. I understand, but I even do that with movies. I do that with everything. I do that with clothes. It's everything, but music is I'm a little weirder about music. Or authors too. You could really, really love a book. Really, really love a book. There's one of my all-time favorite books, 10 years afterward, an author came out with a follow-up to the book, and I hated it. I hated the follow-up so much. So in turn, that confirmed my bias. But then I read book 1 again and then went right into book 2 and I loved it. So what the fuck do I know? I guess all of that leads me to talking about 2021's Mortal Kombat. We're in movies now. Mortal Kombat is the only true franchise where I still actively love playing the video games. You might know this already. I'm not a big video game person. I love being in them. If you want to keep casting me, that's cool. I'll play them all the live long day if you keep casting me. But I love the games, especially Mortal Kombat 3. I am the most annoying jackass to play Mortal Kombat 3 with. Or against, rather. Because only one of us is going to get that flawless victory, and it ain't gonna be you. It ain't gonna be you. No, don't, I don't want to challenge anybody. I play on easy mode, just, you can't pick Sindel, and you can play it in your own home, and just tell me how you did, because I don't want to play against actively anybody at all. Again, really annoying. True story. But yeah, I finally got around to watching the new movie after having just zero motivation for the longest time. It's not that I thought I was going to hate it. I don't know. I decided to just throw on the 95 movie earlier that day, which I was obsessed with as a kid. And I really wanted the soundtrack, but my mom convinced me that I wouldn't like it. Now, at almost 42 years old, I'm still hunting it down. So thanks a lot, Mom. Oh my God, that's a loaded thing. No, we're not going to talk about any of that. Anyways, Mortal Kombat. After finishing the original movie, the new one popped up as a suggestion, and Steven and I just kind of went, why not? And we made dinner plans around that. We both enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm really in the minority here, but I really liked it. I was a geek for it. Some of the fatalities, I was like, oh yeah, sweet. It reminded me of John Wick 3 in theaters. Like I geeked out heavily with the dude sitting next to me on the other side. Not Steven, this dude that saw the movie alone, and me and him were just like, oh, fuck yeah, man. That was me with some of the Mortal Kombat fatalities. So do with that what you will. Yeah, I love. He's not even remotely a main character, but I love Josh Lawson. He is one of my favorite characters in Superstore. I had no idea until seeing him as Kano that he was actually Australian. I just kept complimenting him on his accent before I finally looked it up. Because Steven was like, I'm pretty sure he's actually Australian. I'm like, no, surely you're wrong. But yeah, enough people had to have liked this. Had to have liked it because there's going to be a new one. And don't at me, but Karl Urban is a great choice for Johnny Cage. I do not care if you disagree. I've seen that man's range and have been mildly obsessed with him since Xena Warrior Princess, where he played fucking Cupid in one episode just to go to Julius fucking Caesar in the next. That baby had baby bleach blonde bitch hair, and he was still fucking chewing all the scenery. So I am in no way worried about Karl Urban as Johnny Cage. So there. End of episode. Let's go, everyone. And I opened the door. I almost opened the door as a joke, but I don't want you to hear how hard I have to slam it in order to get it to latch again. Woo! But yeah. So there's that. End of episode. No. I was hesitant to check out Zach Kreger's Weapons. But I finally did. I enjoyed Barbarian, even though it's not something I ever see myself watching again. I'm still traumatized by the third act. But here I am still. I guess that has something to do with my hesitation regarding Weapons. I just didn't want to watch that again. I don't know why I was worried about that. That would have been predictable for Zach. And it's really crazy to see how far he's come. I know I'm saying that like I know him, but I've just seen his trajectory, and it's amazing. Because I became a fan of Zach during Whitest Kids You Know, which, if you haven't seen it, think millennial kids in the hall. And now Zach's doing horror flicks, and I am not complaining. Like, I think he's doing a Resident Evil movie now, yeah. And I'm actually excited for a Resident Evil movie again. Will wonders never cease? So yeah, Weapons is wildly original and wonderfully haunting. Amy Madigan's Gladys is there's no comparison. I have nothing to compare her performance to. It's amazing. I want to see her in more things, and I feel so bad because the only thing I can actively remember her from is Uncle Buck. So help me remember what else she's in, because I feel dumb. Like, I feel like I've slept on this chick's performances other places. But yeah, I can't say much more without spoiling it. I try to avoid spoilers as much as possible when I'm talking about stuff. So I'll stop there. But, so if gore isn't your thing, one more thing. If gore is not your cup of tea, you probably should skip that. And there's some stuff that even I'm like, oh, like, so yeah. And then another 2025 film I finally got around to watching was Ryan Coogler's Sinners. It's so damn good. It's so damn good. If someone says it isn't good, I immediately ask them to name 5 movies they enjoyed and proceed accordingly. Because I don't know if I can trust someone that says they didn't find anything to enjoy about the movie. I'll just leave that there. So I also love how they promoted it initially because they didn't give too much away. So many trailers do that now. But yeah, performance, score, costumes, sets, it's all beautiful. And I often forgot that Michael wasn't actually twins. Do you know how hard that is to do? Mannerisms, speech, stance. So, Sinners needs more recognition and more love. So, there's that. That's all I'm saying about it. I could say a fuck ton more. Like there would be moments that Steven and I walked back to watch again, or paused to really did it. I don't know what I did before being able to pause to just really kind of come to terms with something in a scene. What did we do? We just had to fucking suck it up and keep going, basically. But yeah. And that brings us to the final media category, which is television. I've been doing a lot of rewatches. Batman the Animated Series, Superstore, Supernatural, all good stuff, especially Batman in the Morning. Great way to start the day. We just rewatched one that I don't think Steven had ever seen with Poison Ivy, basically growing a family. And Steven's like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's going to haunt your dreams. Woo! But recently got back into Ghost Adventures. And it's a guilty pleasure of ours for sure. When we were in Vegas, I believe I've mentioned this before, we got RIP passes to go to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. It's Haunted Mansion, I think. But yeah, it's a pretty big place. And I can't believe I'm currently on season 29. There's already a season 30. Season 29. So the beginning of season 29 is a 2-hour episode where they're actually at the house that the first Poltergeist was filmed at. So yeah, wild stuff. And Steven and I got into a huge discussion about the Poltergeist lore and history after that. So that was also interesting. Mediums are fun that way. But the only true, real, new television show I've been watching, I just finished it a couple days ago, is Peacemaker, which that might shock some of you. And I get it. because I was there. Those that know me would have probably assumed it wasn't my thing, and they would have been right. Yet here we are. I really like James Gunn's Suicide Squad, but I really was confused. Like, okay, why do I need a Peacemaker show? Why does Peacemaker, out of everything that happened in that movie, Peacemaker gets his own show? It's such a fucked up random show. John Cena has to play such an unlikable person, and he himself, at least to me, is incredibly likable and well known. So it's a dangerous thing to fuck with. But I don't think he's fucked that up, but it's a wild show. I'm also really happy to see Danielle Brooks in the show. She was pretty much the only reason I finished Orange is the New Black. Which was not easy. It got intense, and her character goes through it. Justice for Tasty, because that still bothers me. But the standout for me is Vigilante, played by Freddie Stroma. He's a psychopathic murderer, sure, with a hint of Deadpoolness, but he's somehow adorable and awkward and funny, and is violently anti-racist. Which, hey, sign me up. Sign me up for like 8 seasons of Vigilante for that. We all have our things, is what I'm saying. Yeah, there isn't much more I can tell you without thoroughly confusing you, if I haven't already, about the little bit that I've just said. So go check out some snippets, judge for yourself. That's how I found a lot of shows, is honestly like little random scenes. I'm like, what the fuck is this? That's how I got into Doom Patrol, which kind of like shit the bed at the end. But yeah, So yeah, water already. I guess I've been talking for a minute already. Again, there's more that I didn't mention. Some things I really thought I'd be into, but they just didn't gel for me. All in all, I'm still very grateful that media continues to be there for me and for you. I guess this might also be some media for you. It's meta! Ah! So, okay, enough of that. Big thanks for my local libraries just helping a base shout, helping me find new and old stuff to read, listen to, and watch. Support your local libraries and tell a librarian they rock, but in a quiet voice. And then shut your fucking mouth because you're in a library. Yeah, 2026. Like I said, we're in a new year. On New Year's Eve, Steven and I opened a bottle of sparkling apple cider, still living my sober life. And we watched Die Hard. I don't know why, but no one set off their fireworks until well after 12:20, which that was something. Yeah. I'm not really one of those people that does goals. But things, if I could set a goal that I think is pretty easily attainable, but somehow out of reach, I wish and hope for things to be less bad. I think we'd all appreciate that. That's my goal. Less bad. Isn't that sad as fuck as far as goals go? I'm not in a bad mood when I say that. I mean, I'm in a fucking, rage a good chunk of my day, but, it's a give and take right now. A lot takes with little give. But, I've definitely found myself festering here and there, and I'm not sure I have to explain why. I've also been in my head, playing with the present, and occasionally ruminating on the past, and wondering about the future. Mostly dreading the future with the way the world is at present. And I don't know. There used to be this shop in Grand Prairie, which is a town next to Arlington, and that's where I grew up around here. And the shop was called Flight of the Phoenix. So friends and I would go there all the time to buy incense, candles, and a whole mess of witchy stuff. And oh my God, I had this amazing pentagram pendant for the longest time that I got from there. Despite what you might think, it's not an evil symbol. Shush, shush, shush. But, God, I love this pendant so much. I loved it so much, I actually paid for it. I lost it, and I think I cried when I couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure. I've been actively searching for another. Like, people have tried to get me replacements in the past. It's like, I'll know, like, if it's not something that I know I like, I won't wear it. I just won't wear it. So, the only other necklace that I found that reminded me, that gave me the same, like, vibes, was something I saw in Pennsylvania years ago. The shop had a little table at the convention I was at, in Allentown, I believe. Yeah, it was the same convention that Steve and I, like, basically kept having all of our meals. I say Steve Yurko and I, we kept having a lot of our meals at Burger King because it was just the closest thing in walking distance. And oh God, I got so sick. It's just a lot of Burger King. And I'm not really down with like the burger monarchy at all. So I think I was a vegetarian at the time too, but they had a veggie burger and it wasn't great. But yeah, getting back to it, the shop that had a thing, I think they had a little table because they were related to the guy who was running the con, who was very nice. I believe his name was Mike. But they had this beautiful pendant, pentagram. Oh my God, I'm pentagram, not pentacle. Necklace that it was $200. So when I mentioned, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. They tried to give it to me. Like, oh, if you want it, like, take it. I'm like, oh, no. I for some reason, I wasn't going to feel okay about them just giving it to me. I should have bought it outright, but that was a little rich for my blood at the time. And if you're listening, contact me. I want it. It's been over a decade, but I'm sure you still have it. So just get in touch. obscurechatter@gmail.com. Let a bitch know. My God, can you like hear the squeaking? Yes. Oh yeah, no, if you missed the little payment part, yes, I used to be a bit of a kleptomaniac as a kid, but I never stole from stores that weren't corporations. Mom and pop shops have their own bullshit to deal with without having to worry about a teenage Terri using her 5-finger discount like it was about to expire. So yeah. So back, Flight of the Phoenix. The person I went to Flight of the Phoenix with the most was my friend. I'm debating saying her name. It's such a common name. It's not like knocking her at all, but Jennifer. And Jennifer was the first of us in high school, like in our little group, to have a car. So as the first friend that had a car, I'm sure some of you can relate to the struggle that means that they basically played the chauffeur. And Jennifer, Jennifer even drove me to work a couple of times when I worked at this t-shirt place inside the Forum 303 Mall, which has been gone for years now. The mall itself, it's gone. But yeah, Jennifer and I were frequent customers. She was a little more into her craft than I was by that time. But it was, that's kind of how like we like really bonded for the longest time. And I really can't pinpoint when we stopped going, but eventually Jennifer stopped hanging out with, our little drama crowd. And that was my most frequent group, in high school. So it felt like at the time she ghosted me, but really she just got a boyfriend. And I guess that's around the time I stopped going, which makes me really sad when I think about it. And now that I'm older, I find myself revisiting a lot of things I loved as a teenager. And Steven and I both kind of like had those little like witchy vibes as teenagers, and we've both kind of gotten into stuff and back into stuff in our own ways. And I'm realizing just how very lucky I was to find stuff that I really liked as a teenager that I still love as an adult woman. That's not always the case for people. You're just always kind of like, I've mentioned it before, lily pad to lily pad, but some stuff just resonates, and then you question whether or not it should resonate at this point in your life. So you kind of like push it aside. But it's been really great to revisit all that stuff. I got into that after realizing I didn't want to commit to organized religion. And I love, I still love studying different cultures and religions and all that stuff. I think it's important to do. And I wish more people did. So, yeah, I also think for a while there, I became kind of a harsh skeptic toward my late teens, early 20s. Like, I stopped reading for fun for a while. I kind of closed myself off from the spiritual and playing with the unknown and the lesser known. But I'm back. And I can partially blame Steven for that. He mellowed me out a lot. What a jerk, right? So, all of that is just kind of like, it's all connected. So one of the things that I've given more of a shot to are psychic readings. Psychics and mediums. I think they're different. Maybe they're not. Don't clarify for me. Blah, blah, blah. But some of y'all might recall, I've been to a couple of psychics. So some in person and some online. There was one psychic that I visit simply because my truck died in front of their shop. This was somewhere in Arlington. I'm still trying to remember where this shop was, because I'm pretty sure I only drive past it when I've got somewhere to be. And I'm not in Arlington that much anymore. But the psychic actually came out and helped me with my truck. I forget what it was, but I think maybe it died. God, I'm trying to remember. But since I had time to kill, so it had to be like charging the battery. It had to be. Since I had time to kill, I asked for a reading. And I can't remember pretty much anything we discussed, but she read palms. I do remember that. And there was one point where she's holding my hand and like running her fingers along my lines, and I'm changing the name of who was calling for the purpose of the show, but she's like, Annabelle is calling you. And I blinked rapidly when she said this, because Annabelle was someone that I dated casually and really wanted to have a real relationship with. Our timing was always off, though. And I was like, Annabelle is calling me? And she pointed to my red flip phone, and she's like, you're getting a phone call? I'm like, ow, like, way to deflate that love balloon. But yeah, we both laughed at that. That was an interesting night. I really should try to remember where the hell that is. And then we were in New Orleans, I want to say 9 years ago. I remember because I had just gotten cast, or just gotten announced as the lead in Recovery of an MMO Junkie. So this is, 2017. And this English woman did tarot, or tarot, as some say. And she channeled through me for readings as well. Like, she channeled a reading for Steven and channeled a reading for my best friend at the time. And all her stuff was pretty spot on for them, but it wasn't for me. Maybe it was. I don't know. She said some stuff about, like, my dad's soul moving on, and I was like, I don't know about that, but whatever. And you might definitely recall that about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I had a very psychic reading via Zoom on my birthday. It was actually on my 40th birthday, and she was nice, But I was also fucking sick as a dog. But I'm like, I wanna get this done. Let's go. And none of her stuff really connected. I recorded it and did a couple of blog posts about it when I really thought I was gonna make Substack a thing. It's important that I tried, I guess. But maybe I should go back. I don't know. But one thing at the end that she mentioned was Reiki healing, which I had no knowledge of. But she kept saying I really needed some healing, and it was a safe assumption with all the lovely trauma I'm sure I hid so well just in my face. But therapy can only do so much. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So I bring all this up because I found a shop. Well, Steven found the shop. That reminds me a lot of Flight of the Phoenix. So we're back. It came full circle. It only took 15 minutes. I don't think it took that long, but who knows? But I was feeling really bogged down by the end of January 1st, if I'm 100% honest. I wasn't unhappy. I love my partner. I love my dog. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head, food in my kitchen, and a place to rest my head at night. But there's a lot going on. Some in my control and way too fucking much that isn't in my control in the slightest. And by January 2nd, I was just Steven realized that we hadn't saged the house yet. Make fun of me, but it's just something we like to do. We sage the house at least once a year. So from my recollection, the use of sage is that it attracts to negative energy and carries it away. So before we sage, we clean the house. It doesn't have to be perfect. Intention as you're cleaning and picking up is really where it's at. And we turn off everything that isn't necessary, like the TV or the radio. We silence our phones. We open up at least one window in every room, so it helps if the weather is decent. If it isn't, we typically don't do it. So we go through the house and do all the nooks and crannies and then sage each other. Start low and then work your way up in the house. And I can hear some of you rolling your fucking eyes. Hush, 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 hush. So what sucks is we're like, oh yeah, let's sage, and realizing we're completely out. So there is something about getting sage in person from a cool shop rather than ordering it, from some corporation that teenage Terri definitely would have went like, yoink, mine now. And it turns out there is a shop near us that's been open for about 2 years called Miracles of Joy. So we decided to go there the next day, which was January 3rd. And I fell in love with this place pretty much the second we stepped in. I loved the employees' vibes. I liked their layout. The other customers were also really friendly, which is a good thing. And it's not always the case. But funny enough, this was the first Saturday of the month. And on the first Saturday of every month, they hold what they call a psychic fair. So that's 6 psychics that have tables in the back of the shop with low lighting, and they offer their skills at a discounted rate. They had all their profiles on a wall, and there was this one guy that stood out to me. He had white hair and a white beard, and dragons were all over his shirt. I think his name was Dragon. We just clicked. I liked his vibe. So Dragon does oracle reading, which according to him, and others, if you look it up online, which I did afterward, I'd never heard of it until I met this guy. It's less restrictive than tarot, or as he called it, tarot. Or, yeah, it was like tarot. And his deck was really cool. Deck. Let me clarify. D-E-C-K, you sick bastards. His cards. It's probably just me. Like, Terri, we know you said deck. Jesus. I took a picture of everything he laid out, and I almost shared it, but I didn't, and I probably won't. That's just me. But Dragon had a lot of great insight, and most of what he said were things I really just needed to have reinforced. I did like how often he reaffirmed that I know who I am, and I just need to stop getting in my own way. I won't explain that at all. But at the beginning of the session, he also mentioned he does Reiki healing. And I told him, oh yeah, another psychic mentioned I should look into that. And he immediately noted the blockages that he saw and felt and offered to do some healing in the last part of our little session. So I'm still a skeptic here and there, but the healing was fascinating. He had me hold a crystal in my right hand, and he put this chunk of selenium, whatever, in front of me. And then he stood to my left as I sat and hovered a pendulum around me. And it was wild to see the movement. I saw it pushing away from me. And Steven's like, no, that wasn't wired or anything, because Steven got to see me a little bit from the side where he was sitting. And it was pushing away from me, but very loose and other things. And I had my eyes closed, so I didn't see any of that, but I had my eyes closed, and he did a little prayer over me. I'm not sure if I'm selling this to you or not, but I felt lightheaded after, and I took a long nap and woke up abruptly. I cried a little bit, after I left the shop. And, when I looked at him, he asked me how I felt, and I explained, the lightheaded and just a little refreshed, and he just kind of grinned and thanked me for coming in. And, I mean, damn, a bitch was just coming in for some sage. And bam, Reiki. Yeah, what a random little adventure to have at the beginning of the year. And I'll probably go back at some point. I don't know. We really like the shop and the people, and it brought me some old Flight of the Phoenix vibes. So it's Miracles of Joy in Bedford off of 183 if you're interested and local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So yeah, check that out. It was nice to kind of, even if it is just hey, this is just reaffirming stuff you already know or whatever. But another hey, you know what you're about, is I've been continuing my analog journey. I know I've talked about it in the past. I don't think I've shut up in any episode, honestly, about going back to physical media, but I don't know if I've mentioned other ways that I'm going back to a simpler time. So, honestly, I hate how easily, looking back, I hate how easily I gave up a bunch of my old tech. I should have held on to my flip phone for as long as humanly possible. I still wear a watch because I hate checking my phone just for the fucking time. I love a good CRT TV. There's definitely a nostalgia tied to them, but there's also zero lag, which is a thing now. There's always a fucking lag in the playback. But so yeah, the CRT, it's not a small thing when you're watching something without pixelation being a fucking issue. So when you're watching something on a CRT, that's not an issue at all, baby. But what's really been frustrating me lately is my alarm on my phone. I do so much on that stupid phone that used to be a bonus. Hey, you can do all of this on this tiny square. And now I'm all about just being away from it as much as possible. I don't like shopping on my phone. I don't know how people do that, which apparently is a millennial thing, but I'm a millennial and it just makes sense. I don't like making big purchases on a tiny little cube. I want a bigger cube that's got a keyboard, built in, that's tactile, whatever. But, I do play games here and there, but then I sign out of them. Because they take too much fucking battery. But, what's really been annoying me is my ringer keeps silencing itself, and I'm unknowingly turning it down when I'm finished with music or an audiobook or a podcast or a TikTok or whatever the fuck. And so I've been missing my medication alarms. It's a medication that if I miss it, it fucks up my entire day. So on one of the mornings that I missed yet another dose, Stephen and I just got to talking about our old alarm clocks, like the old ones, like the brown rectangles. And there was just a simplicity to them. So I don't know so like we were each talking, he was like talking about his, and he's like, I don't remember when I got rid of mine. And it's like, same. I don't know. But, there's an active choice that a lot of us made where we thought we were simplifying stuff, but there's a price to pay with every decision you make. There's a give and there's a take. And I really hate everything. Like if I'm trying to turn off an alarm on my phone and it's not working, and I've also got face recognition on my phone and it's not recognizing my horrible morning, like grouch face, I have to wake up enough to put in my fucking, code. This is all like, and you know what else? The kids today, they don't understand. We used to walk to school in the snow. Like, no. It's just, I hate it. So it's a very Terri experience. But yeah, I just hate relying on my phone to check the time when I'm in bed. So that morning we just discussed playing with really playing with the idea of getting old tech again. So I looked up vintage General Electric alarm clocks, and after researching stuff for about a full day, we each bought one for ourselves. Steven's is exactly the one that he had as a kid, which I'm sure is trippy. And I got one that's a little different that I didn't necessarily have growing up, but I love it. Like they're both from the 80s. Mine has a green tint to it. His has red. And I've just been waking up with like that old school alarm sound or just an FM station. And it's just a different, less like fucky vibe in the morning. And now it's really got us like evaluating stuff. I'm like, I use the timer on my phone all the time. I'm going to get a timer for the fucking kitchen again. I'm going to get a stopwatch for my workouts instead of always doing it on my phone. So I haven't done those yet, but I've been doing a physical calendar that I recall my schedule better on my physical agenda than I do my digital calendar. I have a Polaroid camera that I've been anxious to try out because film isn't cheap, but it is fun. And, just actively trying to find ways to make my phone dumber and boring to be on, so I'm on it less. So, yeah, grateful for technology for the most part, but I need to minimize bullshit. I still toy occasionally with getting rid of all social media, but really, it's a great way to keep up with people that I can't see as often as I'd like, if I'll ever see them again in person, or if I've maybe never met them in person and never will. Like there was a boyfriend I had that we were long distance, and we met online, that we used to like have to buy calling cards to talk to each other. And now we're friends on Instagram, and he's an adorable, like, photographer, and him and his wife are so cute. And I'm like, my God, I want to, like, message him sometimes being like, I just want to message you because it's so easy to do now. And we used to go through all these steps to get calling cards. My God. But yeah, so all of that to just be like, I don't know. Whatever. But, and also doing stuff without feeling the need to post it on social media is also nice. Like I've been staring at clouds a lot at dusk with Steven in the backyard. We just like stand together and around dusk and like look at like the pinks and the blues, and like I don't at any point feel the need to ruin it by being like, hey, let's take a photo of this. So I don't know. We'll see what technology is next. Oh, for those curious about what I'm currently recording, there are a few things I can't talk about right now. And props to the people that took semi-retired off my bio. Rant for a second. Y'all do not know how many of us are auditioning and just not booking. How many of us are still practicing, learning, growing, and just not currently booking. So until we say we're out or you get an obit or some shit, don't assume shit. Sorry, that bugs me. That really does. Yeah. So I've actually been very lucky to have a lot of auditions come through in and out of the anime world. I've been giving myself little gifts. Sometimes it's a little digital purchase. Sometimes it's a nap. Sometimes it's maybe taking myself out to lunch or taking the rest of the day off. But yeah, outside of practicing and experimenting and auditioning, you can hear me as Celeste Perez's mom, and You and I Are Polar Opposites. I'm credited as Suzuki's mom, and she's been a lot of fun. She's been a lot of fun to voice. So, and any chance I get to work with Emily Fajardo is, fantastic. Like, Emily and I met doing a lot of Wallace sessions together. And now, oh my gosh, I just can't imagine her not directing. She's such a fun director. And, yeah, I don't, let me take some water really quick. Really quick, there's something I realized about 10 minutes into this episode, and it's that I didn't start the movie. I typically watch a movie, and I'm looking at a frozen screen. I just never played it. And then I'm like, well, it's too late now. And it actually would have been the perfect amount of time because it's a short movie. It's just funny that I forgot. So there's got to be a trope tied to forgetting some shit. It won't be tied to the movie because it can't be, because technically I didn't watch it. Thank you to Hoopla for letting me borrow it. Man. That's funny. I don't know if I've ever just straight up forgotten. I was just so excited to talk to you guys. So, with that being said, as we wrap up here, I want to say that I know how hard it is to stay tuned in and to stay informed. Because it seems like every day challenges us in a new horrific way. But most of us see through the bullshit. It's like John Carpenter's They Live, where you're wearing the glasses and seeing all the stuff for what it truly is. A good chunk of what's happening is designed to overwhelm and overload our nervous systems. It's that fear and panic and exhaustion. All of that are the desired results. And all of this is under the guise of making very weak people seem powerful. It's a hollow kind of terror. But I know that hope is not lost. That powerful thing that hope is, bless it. Hope and the aforementioned joy are rebellion. Hope and joy are not passive. Hope and joy are motivation. Hope and joy are radical. Hope and joy are punk as fuck. Hope and joy do not require us to ignore what's happening around us. Do what you can to cultivate hope and joy. I promise I'll continue to do the same. And take breaks if you need to. That seems like a divisive thing to say for some people, but it isn't. Stepping away from your mental health seems selfish, but we require emotional regulation. We just do. Of course, we're not all afforded the luxury of shutting down. Just don't be too hard on yourself, is what I'm saying. Listen to your body. Like I said, it's a lot. And they want us to have fried brains. They want us tired. I really don't have an answer on how to properly proceed. I know I'm trying my best, and that has to be enough. I know you're trying your best, and it has to be enough. It is enough. I want to thank all of you that continue to protest whenever and however you can, on and offline. I want to thank all of you that use your platforms to educate, inform, and connect so many to pivotal resources. I want to thank all of you that use your art and mediums to change the culture. Thank you. Thank you so much. Remember that you can always be a part of a future episode by submitting questions and requests to obscurechatter@gmail.com. Submissions remain anonymous unless you say otherwise. Thank you for continuing to listen to Obscure Chatter. We'll talk again in February. Until next time, read good shit, watch good shit, listen to good shit, don't be a shit, and call people on their shit. Keep hope alive and active. Keep your joys fed. Be loud. Be safe. Love y'all.